And that sound means it's happening. It's official. This is the thing that gets me out of bed right away. That YouTube notification, surprise, whatever the fuck they call it, surprise reveal, look at the da-da-da-da. Oh no, an announcement from Nintendo. That's what they named it at first, and I think they just renamed it on YouTube, like inside look or first look at the Nintendo Switch 2. It's, oddly enough, when you count the video length, 2 minutes, 22 seconds in, that's how long it is for the Nintendo Switch 2, which, again, I would love for it to have been called the Super Switch, which only makes sense. You know, Switch was such a successful platform, brought a lot of people back onto the Nintendo, let's just call it bandwagon. It is true. After the failure, I don't look at it as a failure. I actually did enjoy playing my Wii U a lot. Pause. And it was backwards compatible with the Wii stuff, which I didn't have a Wii. I never got one. I was too busy on the 360. But I did enjoy the Wii U, and then the transition over to the Switch, was, it was a big, huge success for Nintendo, obviously. All those systems sold later. Of course, they had to eventually announce the successor to it, too. But again, besides the point of me wanting to have it called Super Switch, or would have preferred for it to have been called, at least we got it. Now it's confirmed. We can stop the speculations, the rumors, what's it going to look like, AI-generated prototype photos from, Genki or this factory warehouse that they got a hand on it first, and now they're revealing it on Twitter. Oh, I've been playing it for like 2 months now, according to a random-ass Reddit user, But the system looks good, as far as what I can see, in comparison to, of course, the OG right here, which I never bought to get an updated version, and I forget if it was a default original version of the system that came with the blue and red Joy-Cons. I got this in 2018. I've had it ever since, and I'm one of those lucky few, no stick drift, or whatever you call it, the drift on left or right sticks you get on the fucking Joy-Cons. Never got it. It's still till this day, still works just fine. I do have a separate controller for it, but for comparison's sakes, looks-wise, the new system looks really good. It's, as you see, of course, in the reveal trailer video, it's bigger, obviously. But I do like that instead of this, gray on the outside, inner frame is black, it looks like they're going for, a default matte black look on the console, which is cool, sleek. Looks a lot like a Steam Deck, but like a thinner, much more, I guess, incentivizing to keep in your back pocket, if you can even stick a Switch in your back pocket. I don't have one right now, otherwise I'd try it. But physically, though, the new system does look good and promising. I like the default black color, just like it took Apple forever to make the MacBook Pro in the default black color. Eventually, Nintendo came around and said, you know what, let's do that for the Switch. Because I don't think there was ever, a fully black Nintendo Switch, unless there was that, special version that was, Tears of the Kingdom, or I think Breath of the Wild, one of those, with, the little gold etchings on the side. But the system does look good, though. Let's not deny that. The screen is bigger. The Joy-Cons are the Joy-Cons. Hopefully, we don't get the drift like we got with this old one. That's to be seen. But one of my concerns, and I hate to bring up concerns and or seem like I'm that guy that's going to immediately point out the shit that no one needed to focus on, but it's there if you watch the video, but it's there towards the end. And I'm glad they confirmed, and they did already before that, via Twitter, that it would be backwards compatible with the Switch. They did confirm now. My suspicion, my fear, at least now they're not going to pull the shit where, the Switch 2 is backwards compatible with the Switch 1, but only for digital store purchases or whatever. No physical copies allowed on the Switch 2. We can play both physical and digital versions of whatever we own. But if you see, and I'll put it up behind me too so you can see it as well, they did point out in the video, I don't have the exact words here, but basically certain games will not be compatible and or supported on the Switch 2. Which leads me to think, I would hate to think, basically, that a lot of the library I've acquired, and I'm sure a lot of you have, because, I'm starting to think, and I hope, that if there are certain titles from the Switch that won't be compatible or supported by the Switch 2, I'm hoping it's a very limited range of copies and or titles, or at least for now, let's say like at launch, the Switch 2 will currently not support, I don't know, for example, Breath of the Wild. At a later date, we'll work on it. We got some kinks and whatever to work on to get it to. I'm just using that example, of course. I think Breath of the Wild shouldn't be a problem, because otherwise that'd be like a 3-console game, right? Wii U, Switch, and Switch 2. And I would hate to have to buy another copy of Breath of the Wild, which I'm currently playing through right now as my first ever Zelda game. I've never touched one before that. And I'm really enjoying it. There's a lot to do, a lot of sidetracking, kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2. I love playing that game. Story's great and everything, but I love everything else besides the main story you can do in that game. So I'd hate to have to buy another copy of Breath of the Wild. I haven't touched Tears of the Kingdom, and I think I never will. I'm just one of those, like, Breath of the Wild was more than enough for me, and is currently since I'm playing it. But Tears of the Kingdom seems like it just took all that and added more to it. Yes, I do buy into the concept of it basically being Breath of the Wild DLC sold again to you at a higher price. But there's so much to do with like the Ultra Hand and all that other shit. Like, I would never stop playing that game, and I would never get to any other game I've been meaning to get to in my backlog. Like, you know, we're all guilty of having at this point now. So I'm starting to worry, not worry, but I am curious to see how they handle the titles that won't be supported by the Switch 2. How many to be exact, and I guess why. You know, to ask Nintendo why about anything and them to give you a direct answer, no pun intended, you know, it's like a shot in the dark. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, or maybe they'll just tweet about it, and that's the most you'll get out of them as far as that's concerned. But I hope it's just not a lot of games that won't be compatible or that won't be transitioning over to the Switch 2. I'm sure the digital version of anything you've ever owned will with no problem. That shouldn't be an issue. Maybe it's like a physical thing. The cartridges might be a little off. Although in the shot I saw in the video, it does look like the cartridges might be the same size or just about the same anyways, but of course it'll hold more data, or maybe we're just looking at it from the front. Maybe we need to see it from the sides a little thicker, something like that. Who knows? Now, as far as things I'd want with the Switch, listen, I'm not one of those technical aspect guys that like can break down, you know, the processor or the fucking thing inside the makings of the Switch 2. But I would hope, fingers crossed, of course, I would hope that at least when it's docked, we could finally get 4K. Now, I know 4K TVs and 4K supported content and shit ain't really a thing now still. It's very few and limited. But at least a higher resolution when docked in the dock itself, and handheld at least 1080p. Or like a full HD up-resed 1080p, something like that. Because the 720p on the old Switch doesn't look terrible. It's manageable. It's like not too bad on the eyes, but you know, depending on the game you play, too much going on in the game, a little tearing, slow. You know already. If you have a Switch, you know already. I'm not talking to you like it's something brand new. But I would hope at least 4K docked, so the shit could look nice hooked up to a TV. No questions there. Well, plenty questions there, but hopefully that won't have to be a question that goes unanswered during the Direct. I hope we get a breakdown of the specs. I would hope at least maybe by default like 128 gigs storage. That'd be nice to have. I forget how much this had. Was it 32 by default or something like that? And yeah, of course you got to buy SD cards. I bought one that was like, I forget how big it was. Maybe 64 gigs or something like that. And that does me plenty well for like the games I'm not playing right now. Just store them on there. So while that is good and it wasn't too difficult to acquire some SD cards, it would be nice by default, Sony, to have enough storage on said system if the games ain't going to be too big or huge. Or, you know, how they did with Tears of the Kingdom. Somehow they made the thing only like 16 gigs at most. So no complaints about that aspect, but I would hope at least more storage, meaning more games, can be saved by default on the main fucking storage thing. And what's going to be the launch game? Because I know a lot of people have been clamoring for, you know, oh, let's get a Metroid launch for Metroid Prime 4. I wouldn't be mad at that, but then also, is Metroid that big of a franchise enough to merit it being a launch game or launch title? Or maybe instead of one, we get two. Again, I don't know much about this aspect. Who knows? I would think by default, safest bet, if I was a betting man, would be like a brand new Mario game. 3D, 2D, 3D, whatever they fucking do. Hopefully not a remake of something we've already had, but something brand new. Odyssey 2, who knows? I've read and I saw on Twitter, Galaxy 3 might be a thing. Who knows? I wouldn't be too mad at Galaxy 3, but I'd really be happy if it was on Odyssey 2, or maybe something brand new linked, tied in to the movie. Who knows? We never got a movie tie-in game, so who knows? Who knows what we get? I would think safe bet will be a Mario game of some sorts. And then maybe a co-launch title would be like a Metroid Prime 4, because we've been waiting on that for so long. Well, I only played a little bit of Metroid. I can't really say I'm a fan like that. Nothing against it. It's just I never really played it like that. So we'll hopefully get most, we're not going to get all of them, but most of our questions answered and our inquiries addressed to see what is going on with the Switch 2. And I'm really excited about that. Again, as sick as I am right now, as congested as I am right now, as phlegmy as I am right now, this got me out of bed like right away. And no question there. I'm excited. You're excited. Let's see what happens April 2nd when we get the direct, and hopefully they clarify everything. But you know what I'm not too sick for? And I'm not too sick in my chest, sick in my lungs because of phlegm, and or sick in the head for. I'm not too sick to be easily fooled by quote-unquote Brad Pitt online, sending me obviously poorly photoshopped pictures, not even AI generated, poorly man-made Photoshop pictures of Brad Pitt in the hospital to try to convince me to divorce my husband and fork over $800,000, which I think she might have done before divorcing her husband, an already real man that wanted her enough in his life to marry her ass, and vice versa, of course, to have access granted to her to have $800,000 at her disposal to give to this fucking scammer that fooled this dumb bitch. And I'm sorry, that's the proper terminology for her at this point. This dumb bitch who stupidly had access to $800,000, this full-grown retard. I'm sorry. She's got to be labeled as such. This retard that forked over $800,000 to a scammer only because Brad Pitt, quote unquote, sent her some pics of his head cropped into some hospital pictures. A lot of them are painfully insulting to anyone with a fully functioning brain. And I'm probably at half right now because I can't get enough air to my head right now because I'm so congested and my head's tightening as I speak right now. I would know. Anna de Armas ain't gonna fucking DM me randomly and ask me every time she does DM me for another 2,000, another 10,000 because she's sick, she's going through whatever the fuck she was going through, chemotherapy, I'm gonna lose my fucking pinky, you need to pay for the operation if you ever want me to even like make eye contact with you in person, whatever the case is. I will say this though, the scams out there are getting very elaborate, very convincing looking, and I guess you gotta be like, I wouldn't say like super tech savvy or like a genius either. You don't gotta be Elon Musk to know a scam from a scam artist, but it is good to be careful. It is good to tread lightly, and it would help to not be so stupid by default to think that of all people, Brad Pitt is gonna reach out to you, say I love you in text, accompanied with some very poorly photoshopped pictures, to ultimately get all this money out of you when Brad Pitt has never been reported as going bankrupt. And, oh, by the way, retard, there's a thing called Google. Google. Does Brad Pitt have a girlfriend? Is Brad Pitt broke? Is Brad Pitt in the hospital? More than likely, besides the fact AI is taking over Google, and it helps. It summarizes a lot of shit without having to click the link. You'll find instant results. TMZ exists still. So many of these other fucking outlets still. They get records to everything going on with these celebrities, besides the fucking fires out there, prayers and thoughts, everybody going through that shit. They got all the access and info necessary to tell you what is Brad Pitt up to. Not even just that. What did Brad Pitt wear today out in Pasadena on this date, this time? He changed his shoes. He went from brown laces to black because he broke the brown ones. Shit like that is available out there for you so long as you Google. Oh, you can fucking have enough tech savvy to know how to open a DM and see the request for $800,000 over time to send to this fucking random asshole from God knows where, what shithole he lives in, that got you for $800,000. That's just what it is, though. That happened to you. That was your fault. You're stupid for it. You got divorced for it, thinking that Brad Pitt wanted to be with you. You fooled yourself into thinking that. And I hate the fucking fact that somebody commented, I think it was on Instagram, on one of the posts breaking the news when it happened. Oh, believing in something isn't the same as wanting to believe in something along those lines. It is. It's the same thing. If you want to believe in something, even if you know in your heart of hearts, your brain of brains, which she lacks fucking both of course, no heart because she divorced a perfectly good man that gave her access to $800,000 to fucking just throw away, might as well flush down the toilet, and no brain because she believed the fucking scam to begin with. You believed what you wanted to believe, and you chose to believe in that, so we can fully believe that you are retarded. Lady, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. I'm sick, I'm phlegmy and congested. I think I'm going to hop off now. Pause. Nintendo Switch 2 news. Brad Pitt, quote-unquote, allegedly, asterisk, is a scammer. Be careful out there, ladies. Besides stealing your heart, and if you let him steal your panties, because he might be a panty sniffer, who knows, allegedly. He's going to steal you and rob you blind of whatever kind of money you have access to, because Brad Pitt is a scammer. Allegedly, supposedly. I'm Who This. This was fucking an emergency episode because of the release of the release trailer for the Switch 2. Don't misinterpret me and say the Switch is out there in the wild and I got it and you don't. Something like that. No, I'm good.
Hey, someone just came up to me and told me that you like disrespectful Latinas. Is that true? Go fuck yourself.
Yo, it's over. All right, it's over. It's over. Move the mic. Move the mic.
Thank you.
All right.